have a new task for you. This situation is a bit delicate. Starfleet has shared with us certain information regarding activities undertaken by the Empire. One of the outposts along the old border, Starbase 39 Sierra, keeps watch over Tal Shiar and Romulan Star Navy movements. At least as much as it can, given the preponderance of cloaking devices in the fleet. Admiral Tanay on Starbase 39 Sierra can give you further information. Report to her. I know that Admiral Tanay was not exactly pleasant to work with during the meeting at Kittimer. I've asked a few colleagues and learned that past experiences have given her somewhat of a grudge against Romulans. Her attitude may have changed somewhat because of the actions of you and other officers allied with Starfleet, but don't expect her to be warm or welcoming. And while it may be tempting to try to bait her, remember that the Republic and all its people are counting on you. Think of it as your chance to be more rational and diplomatic than a Vulcan.
Alright, we are going to take a little tour of this base because, fun fact, I'm pretty sure this used to be the Earth space dock model. But when the company that originally developed Star Trek Online was bought out, the company that replaced them said, well, we don't want to just immediately trash everything. So they reused a lot. This was Club 47. I don't know if it was called that. I can't remember. Chief Medical Officer. That's why you'll also see a lot of Earth space dock type things in here. Is you've got a whole mess of people that were required, and I guess they just said, you know what, let's leave largely as it is. Why change it? Commodities. Just about every resource that you have available to you on Earth Space Dock is here. Ship selection, all of it. This was a... I think this might be where you started as a cadet, like where you got your informations from. You didn't get to talk to the Admiral directly. Bank accounts, mail accounts, ship selection, commodities, resources, ship, weapon, ground gear, requisitions, all of that, all here. And then Admiral Quinn actually used to be where we're going now. So that's pretty neat, I think. You can either go in there, or you can just go straight up here. See, little observations. So they took their time in building it, I guess, so they didn't want to get rid of it. It's not like it's just some singular room somewhere. Not much of view now, but at one point it was beautiful. Wait, what? Oh. Apparently you can't do the Admiral's office from up there. But here she is. This used to be Admiral Quinn. And there's somebody over here.
I see that you have arrived, as instructed. We have much work to do.
I have new missions for you.
All right.
Before the destruction of Romulus, the Imperial Navy and the Tal Shiar operated a base known as the Vault. It was a massive starbase in a remote system designed to facilitate illegal research and construction projects on a tremendous scale. I am sure, however, that such a breach of interstellar accords by the Romulan Star Empire is no surprise to you. Research at the Vault led to the use of Borg technology in various Romulan ship refits. While the facility was abandoned in the wake of the Hobus supernova, long-range sensors have reported activity and ship traffic in the Hakona system, where the Vault is located. Starfleet wishes to be certain that nobody is able to use the Vault to acquire Borg technology or restricted weapons. Command has recommended that you, as a former subject of the Star Empire, may have an advantage in entering the Vault by subterfuge instead of force. I need you to proceed immediately to the Hakona system and investigate the vault. Engage if you must, but I would prefer if you could gather the information we need without conflict.
Okay, now we get a
I have new missions.
set of Scorpion fighters. I can't remember if they're consumable or not. We talk to... Oh no, he's in the Admiral's office. Ah.
In order to avoid drawing too much attention, you need to fly under the radar, so to speak. Admiral Tenay has authorized the requisition of a shuttlecraft for you. You can fulfill the requisition in the shipyard. Once you're ready, take the shuttlecraft out to the Hakona system. If you have a runabout, fighter, or other such craft available, feel free to use it, but do not approach the system in a starship. We want to avoid the notice of whoever's in the vault. The shuttle will also be able to dock with the vault and explore the interior.
Understood. Also, Republic Intelligence will be sending one of their best with you on this operation, Commander Tal Mera. She's been fully briefed and will transport to your vessel as soon as you're ready to part for Hakona. Trust this won't be a problem? Not at all.
Any questions?
Is this a Section 31 operation?
What? Oh, that mythical boogeyman organization? No. This is a standard Starfleet operation at the behest of Admiral Tenay and supported by Starfleet intelligence. In case you were wondering, that means that you should observe all regulations and don't start a war. Any questions?
What can I expect of the Vault?
Borg technology, Thalaron weapons like the ones used by Shenzan, cloaking mines, and heavy graviton beams? We're not entirely sure. That's why we need eyes inside. The station itself is near a micronebula and surrounded by a tachyon detection grid. Even a cloaked ship wouldn't be able to sneak in there. You should also expect automated defenses like turrets and cannons. We haven't spotted any ships in the vicinity, fortunately. Although with Romulan cloaking, anything is possible. Any questions?
No more questions.
Very well. Remember, you must use a shuttlecraft, runabout, fighter, or similar small operations craft to undertake this mission. We need on-site intel from the interior of the vault. Starfleet will not clear you to enter the Hakona system otherwise. Good luck.
Okay. We already have this craft, so we can just go.
Obviously, this station isn't as abandoned as Intel suspected. Sensors are reading several Riemann ships in the area, and that's just the ones that we can spot. That station is immense. It must have taken an incredible amount of manpower and technology to build it. It's almost the size of a small moon. Sensors are reading a sophisticated tachyon detection network, as well as several patrolling vessels. For an abandoned station, this facility certainly has a lot of activity. We need to find a way past that sensor grid. Perhaps we can see if some of our stolen Tal Shiar data will be of use. We must assume that if we engage the ships here, they'll notify whoever is left on the station, and it may become difficult to find an entry point. Picking up some unusual energy readings. We'll need to explore the accessible interior areas and see what we can find. Looks like there's another access conduit across from us. We'll have to think three-dimensionally in here. Sensor readings are also picking up a few scattered life signs. Above us, that's a Borg sphere. The Tal Shiar must have used this base as a storage facility and research area for Borg technology. The Borg sphere is dormant, like it's been put to sleep. It's not the source of the strange readings that long-range scans detected. Looks like the sphere's hooked into part of the local systems network. We should be able to exit through the other doors now. Probably a safety precaution to keep them locked. This is disturbing. We're looking at a facility used to build Thalaron weapons. If the Remans have infiltrated this base, they may be trying to secure those weapons.
Ah, so our intruder finally arrives at the heart of the matter. Have you seen all that you came to see, little spy?
What are you doing here?
That should be obvious. I intend to make use of this station to further my agenda. Your presence, however, is a bit more curious. I expect that you are operating under the shroud of Empress Sela, whether you realize it or not.
Neither of us is supposed to be here, I expect.
Never rely on the noble intentions of spies and thieves, Captain. And you and I are either one or the other.
Since we're on similar footing, the least we can do is show courtesy.
I appreciate your level-headedness in an unfortunate situation. As you must have surmised, though, I have already located the Thalaron weapons that I need. One of my ships has completed transporting them, and soon we shall make our first strike against the Romulans in our war for liberation. Sadly, we cannot trust any outside powers to ally with us. Our freedom must be won by our own hands.
The Federation has always promoted freedom. While I cannot condone the use of Thalaron weapons, I can empathize with your plight.
Your honesty under pressure is refreshing. Lesser beings would be scheming to learn my plans or begging for mercy. Your intellect and discretion do you credit.
The use of Thalaron weapons will have lasting repercussions.
I will deal with the future when it arrives. For me, there is no tomorrow until my people are free. However, I respect your commitment to your position. It's a shame we are at cross purposes. I am afraid our time is at an end. My associates have already finished loading the Thalaron weapons that we need, and I have other operations to manage. I think we both know what happens now. May your death be quick and valorous.
Shields.
We must stop Obisek's ship. They cannot be allowed to possess Thalaron weapons. We can use the subspace booster satellite outside the station to send a message to Starfleet as soon as we're clear of the interior. But Obisek's warship will almost certainly attack us when we do. We'll have to survive long enough for reinforcements to arrive. Reinforcements have arrived and are just past that nebula. We don't have much time. We need to meet with our allies and stop that ship.
That was quite an explosion. Probably from the Thalaron weapons carried aboard the ship. We're going to leave the system under high warp to draw off any reinforcements that might come looking. Suggest you return to Federation space.
I've taken a preliminary look at your logs, and it seems that things went a bit unexpectedly. I have a feeling this isn't the last time we'll be seeing the vault. The Reman commander you encountered is definitely a major player in the disintegration of the Romulan Star Empire. I'm going to send the information you gathered about him over to an old colleague of mine, Dr. Maximilian Peters, for analysis. If this Riemann is a leader in their separatist movement, we'll have to deal with him again. And hopefully Dr. Peters can work up a psychological profile for him and a sociological analysis of the separatists. Our next step will be to decode the signal intelligence and go through any remnants left from the ship that was destroyed near the vault. Now that we know that the Riemanns were hoping to use Thaleron weapons, we need to figure out their target location. Right now, Starfleet knows far too little about a civil war in the making, but it'll take time to sift through all of the data. Keep in touch. Starfleet will notify you when we have a lead. Oh, and thanks for the good work.
Excellent work. We need to learn more about the conflict between Obasek and the Romulans. Sila's forces may indeed be hounding the Riemanns, but the use of Thaleron weapons is unacceptable. Not even the Klingons or the Breen will stoop to such barbarism. Starfleet intelligence will be working to decode the list of possible targets you acquired from the base's databank. The next step may be to investigate these sites and find out why the Riemanns want to destroy them.
Starfleet intelligence has decoded the list of Riemann targets that you recovered from the vault. I need you to investigate one of these locations and determine why Obasek and his forces planned an attack there. The Hethar system is still technically part of the Romulan Star Empire, but Ferengi speculators have moved in, and the Empress has done nothing to remove them. The Ferengi have reopened the mines and are now doing business with anyone with latinum. Several survivors from the Star Empire have taken up residence at the mines and now work for Modron, the Ferengi who oversees the operation. The presence of one or more refugees should not cause undue suspicion, so you should be able to gather information from Modron and the workers. Once we know why Obasek and the Riemanns are targeting these mines, then we will be able to decide how to proceed.
I have new missions for you.
Admiral, the Riemanns were targeting a magnesite mine in this area, but the list we recovered didn't have its exact coordinates. I know we're in the right area, but all of the moons in the system are inhabited, and our sensors are being affected by the magnesite. We'll need to contact each moon to try to determine which one the Riemanns were actually targeting.
Hello, my good friend. I'm so happy to meet you. Perhaps you are in the market for some high-quality magnesite? We have the finest ore in the quadrant. On behalf of the miners and residents here, I'm more than happy to welcome you to our home. Please, transport to the surface. Unfortunately, the large amount of extremely pure magnesite ore in the core of our little world will interfere with your sensors. For safety reasons, I must insist that you use the transporter signal enhancers that I have installed at my own expense. Also, I know Romulans are fond of their entourages, but could you please restrict the number of crew you bring down to the surface? My people here aren't used to strangers, and you wouldn't want to disrupt their work, would you? On behalf of everyone on this forsaken rock, let me be the first to welcome you to Hethara. As you can see, we don't have time for pleasantries, and I'm not sharing my Tranya stash with you. So, why don't we skip the chit-chat and get down to business?
Of course. I've heard you're an excellent source of magnesite. What makes your mine better than the others in the sector?
Unfortunately, I cannot call this mine my own. I'm just a middleman. Out of the goodness of my heart, I help the residents here pass on the products of their hard work to commercial entities such as yourself. The minuscule transaction fee and trade tariff I keep to offset my expenses is figured into the unit cost of the ore. My operation has become one of the best in the area because of the high demand for my services from both sides. I provide the best mining equipment and supplies in the sector to the miners, while my customers get competitive pricing on the ore they need.
Do you have any more information about the mines themselves?
I don't pay much attention to that. Miners have empty carts and they return with ones filled with ore. If you're that interested, you could visit the mines themselves, but I don't recommend it. It's such a dirty, disagreeable business, and I'm convinced that breathing ore dust for too long is terrible for you. The miners who live near my quarters used to keep me up night after night with their dreadful coughing. I had to install soundproofing just to get some sleep. Are you sure you wouldn't rather look at the ore I have for sale?
Thanks, but I'd like to talk to the miners first.
Really? Suit yourself. Just remember, I have an exclusive contract to export magnesite ore from this moon. If you try to cut me out of your deal, you'll regret it.
I just have a few questions before we conduct any business. I'll be back when I'm done. Madron won't answer any questions about why the Remans might be targeting this place for fear of scaring us away from a possible sale. Perhaps if we ask some of the locals about what's going on here, they'll be able to provide more information. We don't see strangers very often. What do you want? Tell me about your life.
What can I say? We exist. And mine because there's nothing but rocks on this forsaken planet. If I'm lucky, I dig enough ore to make my quota and Modern pays me. If he pays me, I can eat and have a warm place to sleep. If we don't make our quotas, there's nothing. Even if I do have latinum, most of it goes to Modern to pay my debts, and the rest he takes in exchange for the supplies he imports. I would leave, but I owe too much to Modern to ever earn enough to buy my passage off this place. Besides, where would I go?
Tell me about Modron.
Every morning, the first thing I do when I wake is curse that Varangi's name. Modron found this moon about 2 years after the destruction of the homeworld. Most of our equipment was broken or useless, the supplies were gone, and we were starving. After some negotiations, Modron had his contract and we had food. We're supposed to be working with him, but he's the only one who benefits from our labor. Modron owns the only working ship here, so no supplies come in without him. He negotiates all of the ore contracts, so most of the latinum goes into his pocket. And he sets the prices for food, medicine, and equipment. So everyone here owes him more than we can ever repay. He owns us now. I hate him for that, but I can't live without him.
The Federation has sent aid. We want to help all Romulans.
I have heard this, but I have not seen that it is true. Are you going to go to every Romulan on every world and hand them bread? Because that is the only way you can help all of us. The strong take from the weak. Sela and her ships are strong. The Tal Shiar is strong. Your aid goes to fill their bellies and heal their wounds, Starfleet, not mine.
Okay.
I can't talk to you. I can't talk to anyone. I'm on the run. And if those thugs see me talking to you, then you'll be in danger too.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I need someone who's not afraid of a fight. There's a group here that's beating and stealing from us. Modron doesn't do anything to stop it. For all I know, he's getting a cut of everything they take. They're making life miserable for all of us. Would you be willing to help?
Count me in.
There's a group of bullies that have been stealing from us. If we don't give them what they want, they beat us. I had a friend. All he was trying to do here was feed his family. Be a good man. He had an old bottle of ale. He said it was from the homeworld. One of those thugs wanted it. Now, my friend is dead. I'm too weak to stop them, I know that. And now I have my friend's children to feed in addition to my own. But if someone were to teach them a lesson, this camp would be a better place for all of us.
Oh. That's one.
I last saw him 2 days ago. Madron assigned both of us to work in the upper levels of the mine. Toshin's drill bit broke, and he needed a new one. I know I should have gone with him. It's not safe to be in the mine alone. Now he's gone.
I don't have time to talk to you right now. I need to repair this drill so I can make a living.
Anything I can do to help?
Not unless you know an engineer who'd be willing to take a few moments out of their busy schedule to help me fix this hunk of junk.
If I encounter anyone who can help, I'll send them your way. Okay. Alright, okay. No. Oh. One more. Thanks, folks. This way. These circles. These circles.
Thank you. Those guys have been giving everyone a lot of trouble. These thugs are part of a larger group that operates deep inside the magnesite mine. They control the lower levels, and no one who goes down there uninvited ever comes back. I don't know what's so important down there that's worth hurting us to protect it. Maybe if you went down there, you could get some answers.
Return to matter. And selfies are in his ear.
You want to go in the mine? Are you really interested in buying any magnesite? Or are you just here to cause trouble? Because if it's the latter, I know someplace you can start a little ruckus. Huh? There's a gang that controls the bottom levels of the mine. They won't even let me in there. Previously, I allowed them to keep their little kingdom in exchange for information. But lately, they've been more trouble than they're worth. And the intel they're feeding me is useless. Honestly, who doesn't know about the green invasion of the fairy space?
I'll take that information to heart. Oh, where's the mine? Oh, yeah, it's over here. Better. Oh, you can see how quickly you are. Captain Nursery special looking in this area. Looks like the Romulans have experience. From my magazine, Rob is the magazine. Rob is the magazine archive. There's anything else we reasons once you only got enough. Do you still know what's here? We're going to use special review order the Romulans are high. I suspect we need to feel them to the
With all due respect, sir, there is a difference between protecting the Empire from her enemies and provoking
There is much here you do not understand, Jack. The Remans need to know their place. As do you. I will not forget. forget your insubordination, Commander. The Tal Shiar has no place for officers who cannot follow orders. I'll be in the command center.
Colonel, they were civilians. Their blood is on our hands.
Get used to it. There will be more. Speaking of which, why don't you clean out the brig before you become a resident there?
Start. Never. Hang on. Never fun. Doesn't give me. Let's go hard. All terribly exciting.
I almost feel sorry for you, but I have my own neck to worry. I'll be joining you in there soon enough. If Hakeeb has his way, we all will. You again? How do you always manage to... Never mind. Obviously, the Tal Shiar have had no luck in stopping you. I have no desire to try my own fortunes. Why are you here? How did you even find out about us?
Why does the Riemann Resistance want to destroy this base?
The Riemans know about this base? Impossible! Only the leadership of the Tal Shiar know we're here. The Empress herself couldn't find us. I don't believe you, but it makes no difference. This is not a military installation. We listen and record here. Nothing more. There are many targets that those Riemann scum would find much more tempting.
I'll need more than your word that this base is as harmless as you say.
Colonel Hakeeb will want my blood for this, but... Take my security code. You can use it to access the control room. You'll find everything you're looking for there. Please, leave me alone. The Tal Shiar will not find you on the train. We need to quickly find a spot.
You again? I suppose it was inevitable. Fitting, as this is the perfect opportunity to eliminate you. Though I would like to watch you suffer personally. My plans are larger than you alone. The self-destruct sequence has begun. This base will be your tomb.
The reactor's going critical. We need to get out of here, but not before we find out what's so important to Hakeeb that he'll destroy this base to protect it. What the hell? This hole is tunneled through solid magnesite. This is too precise to be one of the mining tunnels, and there is a slight trace of silicon residue. Curious, Captain, there are not many creatures that could do something like this. I wonder what it could be. Oh. Communicate with Horda. No kill, I. No kill, I. This message is burned deep into the floor of the chamber. Acid sizzles around the edges of the letters. Oh. We were drilling near when we broke through a well into a chamber that hadn't appeared on our scans. Blasted magnesite blocks everything. Sensors, track orders are all useless. The chamber is large and should be suitable for an expansion of the base. There were several spherical orbs in it. We have yet to determine the nature of these orbs, but Janek thinks they are pretty. She kept one for her quarters. I asked for permission to study the orbs. They remind me of a Federation report I read once. I can't remember the details, but it was something about the Janus system. That would be an original series episode. The Demon in the Dark? I think is what it's called. Something in the Dark. Ansem Kryman is dead. Hakeev ordered him to explore the tunnels. We found organic remains, and his fully discharged disruptor was nearby. It looked like he had been melted. I think we should wall off this section of the mine and not disturb the creature down here. 6 people have already died, 5 were miners and therefore expendable, but Kryman showed promise. I know that in time he would have been a fine officer. I've asked Colonel Hakeev to request reinforcements. If he's determined to kill people exploring this mine, let him kill recruits.
My mind! What have you done to my mind?
There was an infestation of Tal Shiar spies in there. I just fumigated.
Tal Shiar? I'm shocked. I had no idea. I certainly wouldn't have sent you down there if you... Hey, you didn't happen to find anything valuable down there, did you? Because if you did, remember, I have an exclusive contract.
Stop with the lies, Madron. I know you knew who and what was down there.
And what's it to you? This is a rough area of the quadrant, you know, and they're good neighbors. If you're not easily embarrassed, their cameras and listening devices are everywhere. I haven't had a single problem with Orions or Herodians since they moved in. And it doesn't hurt that I acquired the odd bit of information here and there. I'm a businessman, and information is being business.
Do you know anything about what they recently discovered?
Unfortunately, no. I'll admit, I was trying to find out, but their systems were locked down tight. I'm sure whatever it was had to be big news. Everyone was on edge. Janek and Hakeev were barely speaking, and I once heard Hakeev mumbling something about orders. Someone's been pulling his strings, but I don't know who. I do know that Tal Shiar takes security very seriously. If you manage to pull any files from the system, you can expect them to be heavily encoded. Trust me on that. I speak from experience. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go talk 100 Romulans into digging a new mine to replace the one you destroyed. My profit margin for this month is ruined.
Treat those miners well, Madron, or I'll be back. Madron doesn't seem to know much, Captain, or at least he's not willing to part with what information he knows without being paid. I don't think he can help us anymore. We should return to the ship and try our luck at decrypting the files we recovered from the Tal Shiar. I'm sure that they will be more useful than anything Madron has to say. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, I should have grabbed that. Whatever. I hate this bridge. What's she doing? Secret Riemann base detected in the Dara system. Listening post Hephaestus has detected an increase in subspace communication and ships traveling to and from the Dara system. Analysis of the communications and ship traffic reveals patterns of obfuscation normally employed by Riemann forces. Tal Shiar forces then intercepted a ship leaving the Dara system and captured 47 Riemann civilians. The passenger crew were similarly executed until under orders of Colonel Hakeev, but the captain and first officer were preserved for questioning. Under interrogation, the captain of the Riemann vessel provided a security key that could be used to decipher encrypted communications sent to the Dara system. The decrypted messages prove that there is a base in this area of space being used by the Riemann resistance. Recommendation: Tal Shiar ships should be sent to the Dara system immediately to capture this base and its inhabitants. The Tal Shiar is planning an attack on a Riemann base. We need to get this information to Admiral Tanay at Starbase 39 immediately.
The Tal Shiar records you recovered show that Hakeev and his forces have been targeting the Riemanns for months. Obasek and his followers have been driven from their homes, had their ships destroyed, and their loved ones killed or imprisoned. Some might say that Obisek's campaign against the Tal Shiar is just. However, Obisek was planning on using Thalaron weapons in the Bahar system, which would have killed hundreds of innocent civilians as well as the Tal Shiar cell there. This is the problem with revenge. Violence and fury only create more pain and suffering.